field, where you have to imagine how you can use those microorganisms for our own use. A simple thing, bread. We use microorganisms to make bread.
Yeah.
People may not understand. The traditional beer, we use yeast, which is a microorganism to make the beer, to enhance the beer. But you see, now that is something that has come from an imagination somewhere. Somebody thought about that and put it into use, made a product that can be. So that is now innovation. Now, I worked in research, and one thing that fascinated me was how I can use my knowledge, to help the people. And my first station was actually working with goats at Maseno. Now, the idea behind this goat was to create a goat that is both good for milk and also grows very fast to provide the meat. But in the process of running that process, because it was all designed, we got into barriers that diseases were coming now and then. Some of them could be managed. Others were just something that is new. A new disease comes up, something that we had never thought about. And you have to imagine how to handle that. Now that are also my interest in how can we use even local knowledge to handle some of those diseases. And we came up with some procedures, some of the methods that are being even used now. For example, a worm. There is a worm called red worm. In science, it is called Haemonchus. It has some peculiar behavior. When on pastures, when it gets hot, it comes off the grass and moves down, to hide from whatever the places. The environment gets unfavorable. From
being exposed directly.
It moves. When it is wet and cool, it comes up, hoping to be picked by the animal. Now, the imagination here comes. Can we use this behavior to support the animal so that it doesn't pick the worm? So you end up, we came up with an idea that instead of allowing the animals on pastures very early in the morning, you could go and cut the grass. You have carried the worms, you come with and spread it on a platform made of rafters.
So like exposing the grass to sunlight.
Now, the thing is, this worm will now take off. It will hide. Now it will go behind the rafters. And you can come and collect your grass.
And without the
worms have already gone. So that is now, that brought us on creativity and innovation.
Whoa.
So from there, I worked with Kari and then moved to Masindo Muliro. Now at Masindo Muliro, I happened and I was privileged to supervise 2 students. One was working on municipal solid waste. Another one was working on sewage. How the potential of using sewage for energy. And here we are focusing on methane as the biogas. Now, when we got the results, I was actually amazed that we have a potential, a huge potential of using this, what we call waste, as a resource. Then this student who worked on municipal waste, actually the solid waste, also gave me an idea. The results gave us, we have so many things that are thrown away, that end up at the municipal dumping sites. That actually could be plowed back into the economy. Instead of leaving this
them to just get wasted, we find a way of
getting into the. We add some life to some of these materials. So from there, I now started thinking of how can we get the waste to resources. Use the waste as a resource. Now we'll have added some life to this, and instead of throwing it at maybe after use for 10 years,
Yes.
you can still use it in another
For
form.
something else that will give it another 10 or 20 years.
Or 20 years, or forever, depending on what you
What you have created.
Yes. So that is the interest.
And that's your journey.
That is, I feel everything is with us
It's up to us to use.
to use. For example, we used to go through some principles somewhere where they say that matter cannot be created nor destroyed. What does that mean? It means we have been provided with the resources. God has given us resources, everything that we need.
And there's no way we can
You cannot
throw them away.
Yeah.
You cannot stop them from being. They're already there.
Let me even ask you, if we have these resources that have been given to us by God, isn't it? If you cannot create or destroy, only convert this resource from one form to another,
Yes.
then do we envisage, do we see a possibility of the earth becoming so heavy that it can get out?
There's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah. Because you are not adding anything.
We are not adding anything. We have all those things. So it is now us to think of how we can convert one thing to another. After we have used it up to a certain point, then at the end of that specific, the end of life of that specific product,
Yes.
we can still turn that product into something else.
Did you start this on your own, or you saw somebody? Did someone inspire you? And who was this that had so much influence on you to be excited with creating things?
Yeah, as you move around, like for example, I've been working with the International Atomic Energy as a consultant, as a surgeon. And when I visited one of the countries I've consulted with, that is Zambia, I got a farmer. I visited a farmer who was so passionate about using everything in his farm. Everything, including water, wastewater, and other things. This guy said he has paid for water, and he can't let this water go. So he was looking for ways of making sure that water comes back, and he gets most out of this. He was keeping pigs, chicken, and cattle. So the guy was saying, supposing all the water that I get from here is used on the farm, and then everything that comes on the farm, he feeds, first of all, he feeds the pigs. Then whatever remains, he picks that and turns it into something else and feeds the cow. Then the manure, he made sure the manure goes somewhere to breed the maggots. Then the maggots will go to the chicken. So now
That is a giant recycling
Yes.
center.
then the poultry manure that comes from there, the guy was feeding to the cows. So he dries those things and feeds the cows.
Whoa.
It's like there was a loop, just cycling within the farm.
It's actually called cyclical. Now,
Yes,
Kibabi University is reusing the water.
Yes.
You're not throwing out.
no, we don't. We have a system where all the wastewater goes through the system to the oxidation ponds. We do all that is available to us.
Yes.
Then as it exits, we treat it and pumping back
Into the system.
into the system. Now we have separated potable water system, yeah, and the wastewater, the treated wastewater system,
Uh-huh.
such that the potable water is only used for consumption, whatever, and all the processes.
Yes.
The clean.
That creates now the wastewater.
Yes.
So the wastewater
Now
does
the
that.
wastewater comes back.
Yeah.
We use that for the lawns. Yeah, the treated wastewater for the lawns,
Uh-huh.
and we use the same for the closets. So you don't have to flush a toilet using
The right water, the clean
potable
water, the potable water.
Yeah. So we have separated that, and almost we are still continuing. Almost all the buildings, especially the hostels and all those things, the water for the closets is we have separated that from the potable clean water. So by the time the water goes to it's drained to the river,
Yes.
it has probably gone through the system twice or something.
That's very interesting. Dear viewer, we're just getting prepared to join our team in Nairobi for the parliamentary proceedings. But as we do that, I just want to continue listening to Professor. You see, what has happened? What has happened with whatever we use? For example, the solid waste. As an institution, Kibabi, being the biggest research institution here, as an institution, you've not done any patents, but as an individual, you're doing great with them. Just tell us a bit of what is happening with solid waste, especially the hairs. Yeah.
Yeah, we have already profiled, we have already picked up the characteristics of the waste, solid waste.
Yes.
From Kibabi, and we know it's either organic solid wastes, which we want to use for generation of maybe energy and eventually get into fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have solid wastes
Yes.
that cannot go that line.
Yes.
One of these, the most significant and the most difficult actually to deal with has been hair. Yeah, you know the beauty.
Yes.
The beauty industry.
The beauty industry, and you have a lot of girls in the institution.
Yes.
They generate a bit of those.
Yeah, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, somebody will want to change.
To change the hair.
The style,
Yes.
it has to change.
Uh-huh.
Where do you take the hair after removal? You throw it.
You throw it away. Okay.
Yeah.
Those who, some actually do ban them, they incinerate,
Yes,
but then that's on a very small scale.
So banning is just one way of disposing of
Yes.
them. But in most cases, you'll find hair and other related wastes will end up on a dumping
Yes.
site somewhere.
And there is no way hair is getting, it's rotting.
Now, hair can actually, especially if it is maybe even synthetic, can take 50 years.
So there's no rotting here.
Now, it will eventually get done, but it will take 50 years. So where will you be in 50 years right now?
Yeah.
And you have contributed
to this.
To this. So this hair will probably end up in waterways, water bodies somewhere.
So they will actually become a menace.
One, if it gets into the drainage,
Yes, it will
be
block
sure
the
it will block the drainage. If it gets into a river somewhere,
Yes.
Be sure that is a fishing net. Yeah.
It will keep on collecting
It will
that,
collect all that, the fish, everything.
Yes.
So you end up with something you expect like fish, and you don't get that because you fished it involuntarily. you see, so we have to find a way of dealing with this man. We don't ban it. You ban it, you create some other wastes like gas, which are very sometimes very toxic. The diones, those ones are so toxic to the environment. We are talking of the ozone layer and whatever blanket being torn. Those are the things that go messing up. So instead of leaving them in the open to do all the evil things that are associated with that dumping, why don't we use it to do something else?
Okay.
Now, we have come up with a concept, an idea that may not be very new, to use this hair as reinforcement materials in concrete works.
And concrete works means what?
Concrete works is either you are making a slab, you are making a chair, you are making something like that, so that instead of using steel reinforcements,
Yes.
you can use hair. And hair, the advantage is that hair has great tensile strength, almost like steel. If you pull the hair, yeah, you
There's
will
no way you are going to break it.
you know, you will require the almost the same strength, the pulling strength, yeah, like for steel,
Yes.
to break it, because hair is almost 250, what we call mega pascals, yeah, and steel is about 400.
So it's like a half of what steel can provide.
Yeah, depending on the type of hair you're using, you can actually get up to 350, which is almost the steel. So, and steel reinforcement, we use it because of, we want to create the tensile strength. So that the thing, even if you stretch it,
Yes.
it will not go. That is exactly what it is.
So this hair, you see, hair is not steel. Hair is like,
Yes.
it can coil.
It can coil.
You can wrap it around something.
Yes.
So how do you make it?
Now, if you just left it loose,
Yes.
like that, put in concrete or something like that, you might not get the tensile strength you want. But if you stretched it to a certain level,
Yes.
and then held it there by the concrete,
Yes.
it will take you another kind of, you require some little more energy to stretch it further. And once you have done that, then you have created, you have given this concrete some what we call flexual, the bending yeah, strength. So it doesn't bend beyond where it is. Why? Because if you bend it,
You break it.
if you bend it, you break it. But with the hair, if you bend it, it's like you are stretching the hair. So the hair will resist.
You don't, so you can't break it.
Yeah, so the hair will resist and keep it there. And then the hair also, because of that, it can't stretch. It will support that concrete so it doesn't crack. Yeah. So that is the essence. So the only thing probably we, as you said, maybe patenting or something like that,
Yes.
is the method of making this hair retain that tension.
So
And
the
that's
question
what,
is,
and that's what we are working on.
so the question is, when you do these products, okay, the slabs, you just give us, you take us through the process of establishing this strong slab.
Yes.
From the start, from wrapping stretching the hairs to adding in the concrete. Concrete means there is cement,
Cement and make some
sand,
particles.
and the
sand.
particles like stones,
They
we
will
call
call
ballast,
decomposed.
whatever it
Yeah.
is. Just you take us through the process.
Now, the first thing is to make a platform where you will get your hairs, whatever,
Like you wrap around
something. Now you make
a frame,
you
kind
make
of.
a frame,
Yes.
and you can make a frame using metal
Or wood.
Or wood. Now, wood is part of what we are experimenting, and it's working very well because the idea is to make that frame, and then what you do is you now stretch your hair strands, yeah, on this frame, and you end up making something like a mesh, which we are calling a hair mesh instead of a wire mesh. You know, we have the wire mesh.
We have the wire mesh,
Yes.
but then now you've made it into a form. It's actually a mesh, but not
mesh.
wire, but hair.
But hair.
Uh-huh.
Now you see, you are having some strands running longitudinally, others are running what?
Horizontal. Yes.
So you make those box like the mesh.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you flex,
How thick should these hairs be? The strings you are making with the hair, how thick should they be?
Now, for us now, we are not looking at those dimensions. We are using what has been woven already.
Uh-huh.
What was put on the hair and
Yes.
removed. So we just make it as a string.
Ah.
Yes, and then we make.
But I'm looking at the thickness
Yes, there are different sizes,
for different uses.
uses,
Aha.
and this comes from the styles that we get through. The sizes are determined by
What you collect actually.
what you
Aha.
so we can sort out those that are almost the same
Uh-huh.
and use them for something else. Those that are thick can be used for something else, depending on what you want to. If you want to make a walking slab, a bathing slab, a
Yes.
small slab there, you don't need a lot of the thick one.
Because whatever you are doing will be supported by the ground.
The ground,
Uh-huh.
and there you take advantage of the compressive characteristic of the concrete.
Uh-huh.
You know, concrete has the best characteristic in terms of compression.
Yes.
You can't press it.
Uh-huh.
So that one we are not bothered about the tensile strength.
Uh-huh.
But we don't want the cracks. So we can use the thin strands.
Uh-huh.
But if you are getting a slab that probably will support some weight, then you have to put what? You have to put the thick ones, and they have to be more, because you have to make closer.
Yes.
They will be closer. That is it. So it depends on what you want to make and what is. Now, if I want to make like a tabletop,
Yes.
then I'll go for the thick.
The thick ones, because the table,
the-
it
the
needs
top-
specific strength.
You have to put probably you put almost anything there. Yeah, it has to hold some
weight.
Some weight. You see. So, but if it is a paving slab,
You don't need the thickness of it.
Yeah, but now when you do like that, you are mopping up the hair
Yes.
you are sequestering it into a product.
Uh-huh.
And that product, believe me, it can go for 20 years or
even more.
or even more. So you see, just by getting a product
Yes.
and you are using what you consider as waste,
Yes.
you have kept that item sequestered or confined
Yes.
in a product that will not be exposed to everything.
And then you see we have other products that we've been able to make.
Yes.
You made tables, you made chairs.
Yes.
Then you've made what? You've made, I said, all those garden chairs.
Yes, we have quite a number of, and this is where creativity now comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you imagine you can make a cocktail table.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you do it? You collect all the wastes that you have, and we have wastes like broken toilet seats,
Yes.
whatever, all those things,
Mm-hmm.
broken the whole system.
Even the CDs.
Yes, CDs.
In
Those are
movies
proper-
like this, we have those broken computers, the screens, all
Yeah,
those.
those screens can be changed into something. It can form a table, a very good table. Yeah, it is ornamental, and it is also, it serves some little other purpose. Yeah, and then you have the toilet seats, the toilet covers. You have the hair. We have talked about that. We have broken tiles, floor
Yes,
tiles,
yes.
or any type of tiles. We have even gone to the building sites and picked, or even the stones.
All the rubbles that
Yes.
don't make sense to the
And
construction site.
And if this item just has a surface that looks like flat, we can use it. Yeah, you can imagine we have gone to even garages, whatever auto garages,
Yes.
and picked up the brake pads, because one side is flat and something like that.
So you use the flat
To
side
decorate.
for, okay,
Decorate
okay.
some of that. Now the CDs, like you have said, we have used that. Yeah, we have the shock absorbers. You don't throw away the shock absorbers. Of course, they will end up into some other kind of recycling. But the shock absorbers to us, they mean the stands.
The stands.
You make a revolving table. And you use the...
So you don't need to move around the table.
Yes.
The table moves around you.
Yeah. Put your salt there, put your rice. You don't have to say, give me that.
So you only turn the table.
You turn the table and the salt comes to you.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that can be, that kind of table can be actually be outdoor or indoor facility.
Well, so let's think outside the box. You see, when these products, you generate these products, what's the end game? What do you want to achieve with this? Do you just want to make beauty things, go into the record books that I created this and go away?
One thing,
or you want something, as in, what is it that you want to achieve?
What motivates me is environmental sustainability. Yeah, I want to ensure that what may harm the environment there is under check. Yeah. So if you left it, that's the biggest thing. Now that we are talking about climate change, what do you think has caused all this? It's because of
the way we carelessly throw things away.
Yeah, we throw those things away. If we can harness what is there, the energy that is there, the beauty that is there, and all those things, and put it into use, the strength, like you are saying, the hair, the strength that if we can harness that, then we turn it into something that will probably reduce the problems, the risks, and whatever to the environment by almost 90%. You know, you will have created something.
You see, you also turn the leaves. You see, when you sweep a compound, the leaves, you also turn them into charcoal.
Yes, briquettes. Yeah, turn that, even cow dung and all those things. You remember cow dung has been used in olden days for cooking.
Yes.
And for other things. Why not? Why not turn that into something that can burn, generate that heat?
Yes.
You know, it is that heat is held up in the material that is in cow dung, in the material that is in the leaves, and all those things. If you turn it into a form, like now the briquettes, you can burn that. And another waste that probably has not been used adequately, it's like for us here, the bakasi.
Yes.
You know, bakasi is either in a tonga.
Yes.
It is either burned or it is recycled. That energy is
to be useful. Yes.
Then it runs a turbine there. Then the steam, then the turbine, then you get electricity. But we can use that as briquettes. This has been done, but now the best thing like our university or any other research unit can do is to enhance, make it easier to make those briquettes, so that it can be done elsewhere. So what the university is doing is it is fabricating a machine that can easily turn the bakasi into briquettes. So that now it can be used.
So while you're in the process of turning this into the briquettes, you're also generating heat, which is power to power the uses.
Yes, because the power, the electricity as such, comes. It is part of the thermal generation of electricity.
Yes.
Now, what you can do is use the bakasi the way it is, the way Mumias sugar or any other sugar industry
like
has.
Zoya.
Yes. The idea is to burn this bakasi. You boil the water. Now you generate the steam. Now it is that steam that drives the turbine to create
electricity.
Yeah. But now here we want something that can be generated and be used by our mamas out there for cooking. That is one. There is also a very good idea, and we have got a student who is now working on this. You know, when you chew your sugar cane, what remains? You are only interested in the juice.
In the juice, yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it.
Yes.
What remains is what?
It's just...
You come up, you percuss it.
Yes.
So, but it's another form. If you picked that, dried it, and subjected it to water, what will happen? It will absorb the water back, isn't it?
Yes.
It will hold the water.
Yes. But then, the water being held is not as sweet as what was originally...
Yes. Now, can we use that principle? That if you try this thing to almost, let's say, 80% dry, that's a dry matter. It has no water or very little water.
Yes.
If we subject it to moisture, does it pick that moisture? If it picks that moisture, can we turn it into something that we can use to absorb any kind of moisture elsewhere? For example, can we turn this into a natural sanitary towel? Yeah. Do it in such a way that we confine it somewhere, yeah, like a cloth or something that is friendly, and then we use that to give our young girls, instead of buying the synthetic absorbents and other things. Why don't we use that kind of? Okay, it may not be very, very good, but what do you require? You require some little time this fellow to be comfortable aende shule. Hata kama anabadilisha mara pili. It is a very cheap thing.
And you see, sometimes what becomes good is in the who is saying it.
Yes. And two, once we do like that, then people can actually carry out more research on this.
It's like you're opening opportunities for research.
Somebody now can come up and improve it. I have no problem. If somebody comes up and says, yes, it has this limitation, why don't we do this so that it becomes a little... You can take 100 years to improve something. Every time, step by step, so that we don't... And by the way, this is biodegradable. Yeah, it doesn't have to stay there for 20 years in the environment. Yeah, it is biodegradable. Once it has absorbed, whatever, it is maybe disposed of hygienically somewhere, and that is it. Within a very short time, this has been converted to something else.
But then, you see, Kibabii University sits in the heart of Bungoma.
Yeah.
The heart of Bungoma is an agricultural community. What is it, or what innovations are in line to support the agricultural community of Bungoma? Number two, we are, of late, the last 10 years, with the advent of counties, we've seen a surge of the middle class. Like they were distributed countrywide. Bungoma got a big share of the middle class.
Yeah.
This middle class came around and they're generating a lot of waste.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, they have a lot of demands in terms of services. What is it? Those are there studies you guys have done or doing that can be able to satisfy the, number one, what the agricultural community needs or should be able to do, and number two, what are we doing to address the needs of the surging number of the middle class?
Yeah, that is a good question. One is that we should take that demand as an opportunity. That demand is an opportunity, and that is where now research comes in. What do they want, really? Okay, this middle class are guys who probably they have no time. They have no time to waste. They are doing this, they are doing that, they are doing that, and they will require probably something that can facilitate that. Yeah, agriculturally, what can we do? One, add value to what we produce.
Yes.
Add value to some of the producers, so that this middle class, because it is so large as you say, can take advantage that they will be satisfied because they will have saved on time. But a farmer will have found a market for whatever is producing. So it is both way, and farmers should take this as that opportunity and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we all want to use indigenous vegetables.
Yes.
These middle class fellas, how many of those are patient to go cooking or preparing or the mbogas, the managus, and all those things? Do they have?
They don't have.
And probably they don't know.
Yes.
So, but they want to eat. At the moment you are told,
Those are the things that are on demand.
Yes.
Go to any hotel
Yeah.
that is decent, they'll be asking for those.
now that is in a hotel. How about your home? Who will make it for you? So why don't farmers or entrepreneurs think of how to add value to this managu? And I was talking to a friend. I just said, why don't we have facilities where we can, after growing, we can get this managu, prepare it in such a way that it is ready.
All you have to do is just do a little preparation.
Yes.
Like 5 minutes, you have
5 minutes and you have
masaka you're eating.
You are eating. Get this managu or whatever masaka, the way we call it,
Yes.
prepared in the most traditional way and have it dried up. There are facilities to dry that stuff without losing the nutrients. Umeongeza maziwa yako and everything, you have added whatever is required.
It is ready
Yes.
at a go.
Then we just put a product on the shelf of a supermarket.
Yes.
With instructions. Boil your water after a certain point, add, leave for 5 minutes, your stuff is
Ready to.
It will have the sauce, maziwa iko hapo, iko nini, wewe umemaliza. You take your ugali and go away. That is where people are going. Yeah.
But then you see the other element which now maybe the institution needs to address is why do we always depend on rain-fed agriculture?
Yes.
Why don't we have a way of managing that? Why don't you give us a solution?
Now,
Or is that in the works?
that is something that we have a department of agriculture and veterinary sciences. And we are experimenting with quite a number of things. Apart from value addition, we want to see whether you as a person can grow your tomatoes, yeah, hanging somewhere. Yeah. And there is something that we have given, this is an undergraduate, we have given to an undergraduate to get a hanging packet, yeah, with very little input from up there. You feed it from down here.
Mm-hmm.
You know this is Tambis Koloboi,
Yes.
yeah, that lamp.
Yes.
You know, it carries the liquid
From down. up.
down. So as it burns,
Yes.
it creates room for more to come from
Yes.
down there.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a platform where you can get your water down here in using the wastes, these plastic water
Yes.
bottles
Yes.
and whatever, hang them down here, and there is a way of doing it so that you can just unscrew, add water, but the eco utambi
That is
week
feeding
the plant. So as the plant takes the water,
Yes.
then down here the water will also be decry, whatever, inaisha kidogo ikienda. Wewe unaona ikishaisha na kwa hiyo utambi, chukua tu unscrew that nini, ongeza maji kidogo, you screw it back, so the thing just it grows. You don't need and that is water conservation, what we call conservation agriculture.
Yes.
You are conserving and you can have so many packets which are also a waste.
So you use what is already waste
Yes,
to make it usable.
usable.
And then by doing that, so you're saying that is underway.
That is like if you come there probably after a few days, that undergraduate student will take you through.
So all these researches you guys do, you actually involve students?
Yes, and at different levels. We have something that can be implemented by an undergraduate student, and there is something that can be implemented by a master's student and even a PhD student. Because a master's and a PhD student, we want some answers out of what we'll be doing.
Yes, yes.
But for an undergraduate student is something that can be seen, practical. Yeah.
But then you see the university has failed to give us 100 bags of maize from an acre.
Yeah, 100 bags. There are others who have actually told us they get even 60 bags.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the real world, probably the practice on the other side is different from here.
So, okay. So what you are saying is it's achievable, only that we need to work on ourselves first.
That is it. Now, if I've given you a seed that has been proven to give 60 bags an acre, yes, or a hectare, whatever it is, then I give you all the instructions. I tell you put this amount of fertilizer, and it has to be applied at this level. Maybe split application of the top dressing or something like that. And then you come out and say, now, why should I put the split? You question yourself. Then you put everything. So mind yenyewe itajisort. No, we don't have that urge to do what is required. When you are running an experiment, you do everything possible.
Yeah.
Some things may be considered as time wasting with now the farmer. The same thing, you give a farmer some drug and you tell this is for 2 animals, and the guy has 10. So he looks at this and he's not going to buy another bottle of
because it's expensive.
It's expensive. So the guy treats 10 animals using the same amount of so he kata kidogo kidogo, anaangalia hii ni kidogo, anapea kidogo, hii kubwa, anasema utapata hii. But you see at the end, you have not given what is required. So the process,
you not get
the result is not what is anticipated. So there is a disconnect between what research has picked up and what most farmers are doing. And for now, for us here, look at the sizes of land. Tumeikata mpaka imefika somewhere where it is not profitable at all. So somebody, as long as he sees some maize growing,
yes,
he sees some maize has tasseled,
yes,
he doesn't even care how much how much of this crop has tasseled. But you see in research, you will even count and say this seed can give this number of whatever. We have been told that an acre will probably have, when done very well, will have like 25,000 stems, whatever, stalks of maize. Do we normally have that in real life?
Do we count them? We actually, do you have the patience to count?
We don't. And that's why, in most cases, we don't know exactly how much we have put there. We don't know. What comes out, even if you have put some money, in fact, if you want to make this guy not plant maize, just keep the records and say, this is what you have put there, this, and you cost the time. If it is maize, use 6 months and say, this is what you are getting every month. And you see the farmer and say, it's not worth it.
It's too little.
What we do is we look at the end. Umepata mahindi? Yes, mimi nilipata 10. Potential, this fellow you will have picked even 30. But alipata 10. And in that village he is the only one who got 10.
The rest got 5? 5? 3, 4, something
so
like that.
So it becomes normal. That getting 5 is normal. So what actually, these other countries who are doing very well in terms of agriculture may have gone through this. And at a certain period, they picked up the courage and said, you don't farm, you don't do the farming on 2 acres. You are calling yourself a farmer
And we only have
2 acres. They say you don't do the maize on 2 acres.
if it's maize, you need
10 and above. Actually, a colleague of ours has come up with, he did some research and said the minimum acreage one can do and get a profit is 5 acres. 5 acres. Otherwise, if you cost the time, cost what you are doing there, and all the whatever, you end up losing.
And you see, research is taking details. The
Details.
data is,
Detail.
you have to collect every information and then cost it.
Now, why is it that somebody somewhere with 100 acres cannot live farming? Because he's making money, isn't it?
Yes.
Because he is putting some of those details there.
But then when we eat the same maize,
Yes,
we're eating everything.
of course.
But then in Mexico, you get, before you bring the flour on the table, various other, about a dozen or so products will have been removed. And this flour will still be right. It will still have the right nutrients for human consumption.
Now,
They make those round things, we call chapati here, they call them tortilla.
yes,
But by the time they're making tortillas, they'll have other, they'll have earned a lot of money out of it.
that comes back to what we say innovation. You have something, you have the maize. What can this maize give you? Let's start from harvesting. You know, the grain, the cob, is only probably only 30% or less of the total biomass of the maize.
Yes.
Where does this other thing go? Where does the 70 go?
We actually put it back in the soil.
You are putting it back in the soil.
Yeah.
But the rest inaenda kwa moto. The rest okay inaliwa na ng'ombe.
And you see,
Yeah.
Clive told Clive Wafoho,
Yes.
the stem,
Yes.
the stem has a fabric
Yes.
inside it that can be a cloth.
Yes.
And we actually burn that. We start by burning that before we do anything else.
And that inside, yeah, remove the reeds, the top part, isn't it?
Yeah.
It also can function like what we said about the percasse. It can also be turned into a sanitary towel. Now,
Okay.
what we are doing is we are letting the potential of this product called whatever, the maize or the, we are letting 70% of this go away
To waste,
to
actually.
waste. Now, if we can harness the 70%, we will forget about the grain.
Because the grain is like,
5%. It's like, do you know why sugar from elsewhere is cheaper than?
it's because the same principle.
the key
Yeah.
product there is not the sugar. It is something else. So we can, if we added value to the whole maize, not just the grain,
Yeah.
we will probably make that farmer gain more than waiting for the grain to grow, get somewhere, and then is hammered somewhere along the way as he takes the maize.
You see, the primary thing which you need to look at now is actually the, what do you call, mindset change.
Yes.
Because yesterday we were interacting with an expert in beekeeping, and he told us we always look for honey from a beehive.
Yes.
But actually, honey is the lowest priced product from a beehive.
Yes.
So it is the same with maize. It is the same with all other products we are
It is
growing.
everywhere. You see,
What we are meant to look for is not the key thing
is
in the value chain of
you know,
this
it is
specific
the
product.
lowest, probably. It is the lowest part of the ranking, whatever. Because the honey, for example, a beehive has several products. The honey is just, in fact, we say,
The lowest priced product from
yes,
that beehive.
honey can be a byproduct. To me, it's a byproduct. Do you know that sting,
The venom.
the venom, is more priced than the honey?
Actually, a kg is like 3 million shillings.
Yeah. So why don't we go for that? We don't have probably the technology, or we have not been exposed.
Or we've not invested, into
in that technology to an extent that we are going for the lowest, the lowest product, which is the honey. Yeah, and you can get so many other things from that.
You see, we're just coming to the end of the show, and I'm so regretting that this has to end now. But let me just, in a minute, what are the risks associated with research
You know,
and innovation?
let me use my own example. When I made a cocktail table, my idea was that we have some meeting venues where occasionally you will be requested, or you will break to go for a cup of tea. So my idea was, why don't we make cocktail tables so that people do not have to carry their cups from a serving table to come and sit. Then once they are through, they will take the empty cup and whatever back.
Yes.
So I made some cocktail tables, but I made them from the wastes, the covers, toilet covers.
Toilet seat covers.
Yes, the covers and all those things. I took them to the meeting. Now guys didn't know, and I wanted to know what is this,
The mindset.
the mindset. So after the meeting, people went. Actually, they enjoyed, because 5-6 people
Can stand around the
that,
table.
and they enjoyed. And I didn't tell them what it is. Now this meeting was going into the afternoon,
Yes.
up to 5. So after that meeting, after the tea, I announced to them that what you are using is an innovation from Kibabi, and we are using the toilet covers that we have actually picked from the university. You know, in the afternoon, nobody wanted to use. So the greatest risk is actually that acceptability. People don't want to accept some of those things. Yeah, and this is out of the cultural background. You know, we believe something that comes from the toilet is equally dirty. Yeah,
it's dirty.
It's dirty. But you see, I asked them, then what is the use of water? If I cleaned this thing, or even disinfected it, will you have the same things you are thinking of? I said, no. Then we left those things there.
So you're saying the biggest risk to innovation is the perception.
The perception.
That these things can never be clean.
Yeah. Now, the other day, that student I was telling you earlier on, we came up with a model, something that will produce biogas from the sewage. Yeah, and we went to some primary school, and instead of throwing away the fecal material, whatever, in any way, collected them and put them somewhere to produce the gas. Because there is a lot from there. And you know, now these people took that smell. Now that smell is nothing but hydrogen, the sulfide.
Yes.
So these guys now carried that perception to the kitchen. I said, we cannot eat food you cooked using this. Now you can see what that means. But you can actually remove that hydrogen sulfide, yeah, and have clean gas. Alternatively, now this is now creativity. Why don't we boil this water from elsewhere in a boiler? You know, it will not come into contact with that hydrogen sulfide. You boil the water, then channel that water to the kitchen. so that you use very little energy to cook. Now, still, when guys now see that actually there we are using the origin of this is from the fecal material. The guy says he can't eat. Who told you that the water that was pumped, hot water that was pumped there to the kitchen is carrying the same things? So that is where that's where we are. So perception is everything.
Professor Donald Namasaka Siamba.
Yes.
And that's your middle name, right?
That's my little.
And
That's
that's
my
all
name. That's my name. Siamba is my dad's name.
Is the DVC Administration, Finance and
Development.
Kibabi University. We're just ending the conversation. It's a minute past 10 o'clock. I'm eating in my colleagues' time. We need to join our team in Nairobi to bring us live proceedings from the Parliament. I want to thank you for joining with us on the conversation. Keep the comments coming on X at @WestTV_Kenya, K2E Ohasimiti. You can also follow this conversation on YouTube. It's been live, and leave a comment wherever you are on our social media. On behalf of the director of the show, Kelvin Kibet, this is CKS.
Thank you.
Jose, maybe when is today unanisikiza, mlichoma chuo ama ulitoka chuo. Nataka tu uelewe vitu tatu.
West TV, tazama ilivyo.